Greetings, and welcome to Channel OtherDoc. I'm Jim, and I use he, him pronouns, and this is the premiere of our campaign of Apocalypse World. This is a game by Vincent and Meguey Baker, and was, of course, the first ever game to be powered by the apocalypse. I seem to have been... It's one of those things that sort of been... You think about it for a while, it's like, I seem to be playing a lot of games that are powered by the apocalypse, but I've never actually played the original. And so we're going to give this one a shot. Today, mostly, it's going to be world building. We're doing a bunch of all Session 0 stuff. And I do rather a lot more. Anyone who's watched this channel before knows that I do a lot more world building in Session 0s than possibly is healthy for humans. But we're going to do it anyway. But first, let's go around, say hi to everybody, and ask them who they are and their favorite apocalypse. I am going to start with Michi. Hello.
Hello, I am Michi. You can find, well, wait, do I say where you can find me yet?
If you like, you can say anything you like.
Okay, papaya. I I can be found on Twitter as Michi, and I also stream here on Twitch. But my favorite apocalypse is the puppy apocalypse, because I made it up, and that's the only type of apocalypse I will accept, with puppies.
This is going to be a very strange campaign. I can feel it already. That sounds like a very nice apocalypse. That's a good one. The apocalypse. Let us now move around to a new face on the channel, but certainly not to me. Curt, hello.
Well, hello. I am Curt Jackson, and you can find me at Captain Curt Jack on Twitter. And I guess my favorite apocalypse would be when it gets so cold that you just don't want to go outside, like right now.
Oh yeah,
Frostpunk all the way.
I've been playing Frost, the computer game Frostpunk.
I've been living Frostpunk. Okay.
Oh, have you? Oh, that's right. You're in Alaska area.
Yeah,
sure.
Oh,
God.
We've had the coldest winter in 15 years.
Oh man. Yeah, that's it's a thing.
We gather all the puppies to us for warmth.
It's good to have those.
Apocalypse!
It's good to have that source of heat. It's
DeVille, Cruella DeVille.
Oh my God. This is going to go so well. Let's move on to Vivacia. Hello.
Hi, I'm Vivacia, or Vivi. If you're watching Jim's channel, you've seen me a couple of times. I like to haunt this place. My favorite apocalypse, I guess, the first supernatural one. I really adored the guy who played Death and how he showed up, because he loves, the deep dish pizza.
Oh yeah.
So Death is my favorite, because he's like, whatever, I'm gonna do this, but first let me eat, because I love this food.
It's good. It's a good idea. It's a good ethos to have when you're responsible for 1/4 of the end of the world.
He's much better. Pestilence was disgusting.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. How Max Headroom has fallen. But I digress. Anyway, we are going to have a fourth player. Unfortunately, he could not make it this evening. But hopefully we shall have him next week, and we shall sort of just drop him in and see and do terrible things immediately. We'll see. But let us see. What am I doing? Yes, before we get into it, like we do with most games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. So if we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and we'll do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil. So it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know that we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much. And then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. Lungs. apparently I have lungs. Um,
Still breathing.
always good to remember to do that. But what am I doing? So we are. I have been, as I do with a lot of these games. I'm just sort of. It's like I've been. You cram it into your head the night before. If you're not running anything else, last night I was running Deadlands. So this is going to be the learn as we go process in part, and so we're going to start out doing the standard sort of Q&A for character creation, and kind of just sort of go through and see what folks are thinking for their characters. And then we're going to shift over to the environment and start talking about it. Depending on the timing, I'm going to probably draw some prompts from some places, and we'll talk about kind of the terrain, settlements, NPCs, things of that nature, to get it set up so that I shall have a significant amount of things to play off of, and we'll kind of go from there. So, I think what we shall do. Let's see. There are things I'm supposed to say, so I'm going to start off saying them, and then we'll see what happens. But your job as players: play your characters as though they were real people in whatever circumstances they find themselves. Cool, competent, dangerous people, larger than life but real. And my job as MC is to treat your characters as though they were real people too, and to act as though Apocalypse World were real. So the apocalypse itself happened about 50 years ago. The oldest people still around have childhood memories of it. Nobody knows what really happened or why. Maybe nobody ever really knew. Then there is this thing that's always around called the psychic maelstrom. It's everywhere, just outside your perception. If you open your brain up to it, you can learn things from it. It learns things from you too. If you know how, you can reach out into it and make things happen. It caused the apocalypse, or else the apocalypse caused it. We're not sure. So we have the basic stats. Cool, hard, hot, sharp, weird, and HX, which means history. Sort of points of history you have between each other. I'm not really going to go into alarming detail right now, unless anyone wants to ask about it, in which case we'll go into alarming detail as to what the various things mean. And we'll have a number of basic moves that we use that hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at. We're not really going to, like I said, this session we're not going to be doing much with them, but if there are certain things you feel as though your character's going to do a lot out of the basic moves, then you may want to lean that way as you're distributing things, as you're sorting things out with your playbooks. But let's see. Just looking through things that, we're not going to have to worry about as much right now. Okay. I think I'm just we're going to start by going around here, and I'm going to ask each of you to kind of tell us a little bit about the what you have decided thus far about your character, and we'll kind of go from there. Let's see. As far as I will go ahead and read you some of the stuff out of Setting Expectations, just so that's so that we know what's in here. Your characters don't have to be close friends, but they do have to know each other and work together. They should be allies. They might become enemies in play. They shouldn't start out as enemies. Let's see. You do each have a move for what happens when you have sex, but that is purely consensually. We don't even have to have anything to do with sex during this campaign if you don't want. But it's always strictly up to you whether or not that happens. We don't actually play out any sex scenes that might occur. It's we can easily fade to black on those. But that's more of a story thing. And again, obviously, your characters are unique in the world. So you are, whatever playbook you've chosen, you are the only one of that thing that is best known as that thing. There are other people who do the same jobs that your character has, but as a thing, you're the only thing. If that makes sense. Let's see. Okay. All right, yeah, and the rest of this is pretty much common sense at this point. All right, we're going to do, we're going to figure out kind of our things with our characters now. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go around and let us know a little bit about who you are playing. If Michi does not mind, I shall start with her again. Who are you playing? Tell us about them.
Okay. So my character's name is Crystal, but she goes by Krista. And she is the battle babe. So essentially, like she doesn't mind being on the front lines and everything, but she's more of like she wants to be able to move around, instead of just like staying in one place. But yeah, I like one of the things that I think I wanted to have about her is that like she didn't intentionally like want to be like a battle babe. So like the attraction that people have to her, she actually finds slightly annoying. So that's like what I have so far for her.
Cool. I'm just grabbing the where are they here? The various other things here. Let me look back up and see if there's anything I wanted to look at with respect to that playbook. But and I think that we had said I had saw, and we can actually this is a broader discussion. But I believe folks were interested in, as we were talking about this in the Discord, in doing sort of a traveling entertainment thing. And so we're probably going to want to delve a little bit, burrow into that in a bit. But you may want to be thinking about what it is your character does with respect to that. Or if you're just security.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that, like, because there is what is it called? A bodega, right?
I
and
think they
so
call it bordello or
there we go.
brothel.
I was like, I don't know the word right now. My brain's going bleh.
An entertainment area.
Yes. I was going to say that Krista sometimes helps out around there. As like security or help or whatever really she needs to be. And then another thing too is that she's curious, and that tends to get her into trouble. So, yeah.
Excellent. Good. Okay. Cool. Let me go ahead and pull open the thing so I can start actually taking notes like an adult human. There we go. Okay, and so this is just so we're clear now. I want to make sure I understand this properly. We were talking about you provide security sometimes at a bordello. Is that right? Okay. Is this a traveling bordello, or is this one in one of the settlements?
It's the one that's Vivacia's character's bordello.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll find out more about that shortly. Let's go ahead and finish introducing the characters a little bit, and then I'm going to start flinging more questions at you, I think. I'm going to come around to Curt again. Do you know what you would like to play?
I'm going to be the Angel. Bordella is her name.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry, not Bordella. I was just bouncing off of Bordello. 1 second. It's Barbello is one of the...
Barbello.
It's a Gnostic angel, and she is female, identifies as female, but all appearances, because she is someone that is so conscious of health practices and infection and all that, just keeps that shaved head, so appears kind of asexual from appearance.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I should ask, like, we did have the puppy apocalypse. What tone do we want to have for looking for? Because I was thinking that she'd be a midwife, and I think the role of a midwife would be, especially at a bordello, would be abortions, dealing with like STDs, and it could get pretty grim. So I just wanted to kind of find out where we're.
Oh yeah, and so I'm not going to go into graphic detail about a lot of those things, but I don't mind them being there.
Okay. Okay.
And how does everyone else feel about that? Are we okay? Okay. Yeah. So that sounds reasonable.
Okay. So I think maybe she grew up around the bordello as kind of just a helper of sorts, and someone took her. Maybe some of the patrons took her under their wing in a not creepy way, and maybe taught her some biology, and she just you know, absorbed it as much as she could.
Cool. Excellent. All right. Let me see. Was there anything else hysterical I wanted to find out about? Not yet. Okay. Let's go ahead and go around to Vivacia real quick and just find out. Tell us a little bit about your character.
So her name is going to be Nandy. Maybe she'll be Madam Nandy. I don't know yet. My idea was I wanted her to be a Master D, but since we were talking about being nomads, I decided, well, maybe not really a carnival. Didn't think circus, but maybe like a traveling festival. We could have a hocus that is like a main draw, like a faith healer, or somebody who does medium things and talk to the dead, kind of like that draw. And that she would have this bordello, but not from making money, but she is somebody who takes in strays and tries and keeps them safe.
Okay. I will admit, for part of that, I was Googling the word hocus on its own to make sure I understood what it meant. So I just want to make sure that...
No, I mean as a player.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Because I looked at the player book and I thought a hocus would be an interesting attraction because it's kind of like a cult. So, and then I'm kind of thinking of the faith healers or the mediums, who pretend to, or say they can talk to people and, give answers. And I thought that one might be an interesting draw. If we're traveling around between all these holds and, we would need more than just the party or the shopping. We would also need some kind of main attraction.
Yeah. Okay.
Plus, I thought if we don't have a hocus, you would make an exceedingly great hocus.
So you're going to be playing you're going to be playing the hocus playbook?
No, I'm the Maestro D.
You're the Maestro D. Okay, all right. I just wanted to I wanted to sort of figure out which
I am the madam taking care of all my strays.
Okay. And this is all part of the traveling festival.
Yes.
Okay.
So we throw up the little area and have a little act going, maybe something burlesque, who knows? I'm not quite sure yet. Something like that, but it's more like drinking and the girls. It's not like a stuff your face, bondage, whatever place. It's more comfortable getting your drink on, maybe watching a little bit of entertainment and then having your fun and moving it along. Okay. And Michi and I talked about that Krista would like to hang out in a place like that, and that she will sometimes pitch in, because I think I chose that I would have a bouncer, and then we're always moving places as security. But since she likes to hang and I'll hook her up with drinks, she will pitch in if things get too bad.
Cool.
If I take in the wrong people. And I think that kind of fits with Curt's angel too, because I might have just taken her in as a stray on some point. And since this is not an exploitative place in itself, that might have worked out well without even talking about it.
That's helpful.
Found out that I serve better taking care of everybody versus like just trying to service people.
I'm going to presume this is a case in which this is a thing where it is work. Okay, I just want to make this clear: is working here voluntary?
Absolutely.
Okay, and so it's all pretty much the folks who are into
it is sex work. It is exotic dancers. Sure. It is serving drinks, and even the strays I take in. Yeah, it doesn't really. They can find something to do. Or we'll find them something else to do in the carnival, because there's maintenance, there's food, there's everything that we need to run this little city and keep it moving.
Okay.
And I like the idea that underlying it all, connecting it all, is some sort of cult. Like it's some sort of happy cult of some sort. Yeah, right. So that get them in the door, have a great time.
And the hocus is like,
yeah, let's talk Scientology.
Nice. Okay.
Actually, this is all about the puppies.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Puppytology.
It's about
Puppytology.
There are puppies everywhere. It's like, here's your puppy.
Oh my God.
You get a puppy. You get a puppy.
It's like we're killing him already.
This is going to go so well. Okay. So what I think we're going to do at this point then, I think we can either do, let's go ahead and do the character questions, and kind of get through. And so you each have different character questions, or you should, under your HX section. And I think what we'll do is go around, and each can kind of do a question until we're out of questions, and I think that'll probably be the best way to do this. So sorry, I know everybody. I'm like hobbling back and forth between PDFs right now, so there's a lot of figuring it out. So yeah, and again, I'm going to go ahead and start with Michi. Do you have a question on there to ask the other players?
There is one question to ask the other players.
Okay.
Which is, who can Krista trust?
That's wonderful. So who do we think it is?
I mean, they would just have to tell me, and I would just put it down.
Oh. I would say Nandy because she's been watching her rescue people instead of selling them or abusing them. So, and since she keeps hanging out in my area, we're probably pretty close to friends. Yeah. And I'm thinking Nandy is more towards middle age. She's already older. While I'm guessing that Krista is still a little younger, because once you get too old, you're not really a battle babe no more.
She's like
a battle
mid
MILF?
to upper 20s.
So I am guessing that Nandy is more upper 30s, almost 40.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so then that's that one.
That's it,
I have
that's
to put one for each person.
Okay, and then you so you write the character you can trust, right? HX one. Isn't it? I love that it doesn't do. Okay. Ones you can trust, HX -1. Characters you can't trust, right? HX +3. We're going to in the interim. I will take another look at history and make sure I understand how that is working, because it sounds as though you're going to get a bonus with the people you can't trust.
She's a very curious person. It gets her into a lot of trouble.
Yeah. So you're gonna have the history +3 with Curt's character and Seth's character, whomever that turns out to be. Also, a thing that I like is that if no one knows the answer to one of these questions, and then we can always just sort of default and say that's Seth's character. You can just sort of figure that out in the interim. Let me go through and just ask Curt and Vivacia, how many questions each do you have?
I can ask 1, 2, or 3 questions.
Okay.
I'll ask all 3. I think they're all pretty cool.
Okay, so in that case, since Vivacia has 2, I'll have you start, and we'll go back and forth.
Okay, here we go. So definitely, and just as kind of a character stat thing, like I definitely gave Barbello weird as one of her higher stats, because she is linked psychically to whatever is going on. That's how she heals people. Like she can touch somebody's belly and tell that they're pregnant just from like that's the psychic connection. So which one of you do I figure is doomed to self-destruction?
Seth.
If no one answers, it's going to be Seth.
Well done. Perfect.
I know he wants to be the mechanic.
He's going to be watching this later. Congratulations.
Sticking his hand inside fan belts and gears all the time.
Also, Ed, we will. Seth, if you're watching this, I do want you to know that you do get to approve these afterwards. if you're okay with it, then this is how we will proceed. But if not, we can change it up later. It's perfectly fine. Okay. So why? We don't really know much about Seth yet, but for some reason, do you have any general ideas about why you think that his character is doomed?
I think that he probably, if he's going to be a mechanic, is that what we're saying? Probably?
He's going to be the savvy head, is what he said. He's thinking of going.
I think that he's too dedicated, like to the point where he'll try to fix machines that are not safe, they're dangerous. He puts himself in dangerous situations because he gets so obsessed with whatever he's doing.
Cool. Nice. Excellent. Good. All right, Vivacia, do you have a question?
I actually have two. The first one is, which of you do I find most attractive?
Okay, so we're just doing the first one.
Yeah.
Right now, and then we're going to back and forth.
Which is not going to be Barbello because probably saw her grow up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Yeah, she has zero hot.
I don't know. Depends. Which way does Nandy swing? What are her preferences?
I don't know yet.
Oh.
In the apocalypse, it could be any manner of things. Actually, even without it being an apocalypse, it could be any manner of things.
Yes, could be anything.
It's just fewer people after the apocalypse. Fewer people worry about that. I think. Than
we can always
worry
make
about it now.
Because I think the next one is very very geared would be perfect for Krista.
Okay, so we can say that's also Seth. Then that first one probably.
So I'm gonna write that
Seth.
under HX. I'm gonna write Seth, and I'll put a 2 in there. No?
Okay.
Oh, what did that write?
Maestro D.
Okay. Right. And
okay. So
next one is, which one was my favorite?
Okay, we'll go to that after we answer another of Curt's questions.
Okay.
It's like we're going back and forth.
Which one of you put a hand in when it mattered and helped me save a life?
I feel kind of pointed out here. But I guess so more likely since she's the midwife, we probably work together to save somebody.
Okay. Cool. Do you have any be thinking about that actually a little bit, because we might the whoever it is that you saved might become a plot point or some such thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas just roughly off the top of your head what who you might have saved?
Someone named Michael.
Michael the
It's
boy
entirely
wonder.
possible. It's entirely possible. It could be someone named Michael.
Could be somebody that's kind of like a Skinner. If we're sticking with the gameplay modes, playbooks.
Or we still don't have who this Hocus person is, and he seems like he's going to be. Michael could be the Hocus, and when we saved him, that's when he had his epiphany about we're going to take you into the light or something like that.
That or his wife, his daughter, his girlfriend, her girlfriend. We don't know if the Hocus. Maybe it's Michaela.
Yeah, we can go however you want to with that.
Well, I would think it should be a female that we save. That would make more sense because that might also be what Barbello decided how midwifing was going to be the focus of what she wanted to do. If we
Okay.
almost lost somebody,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, cool. And you want to go with Michaela?
Michaela.
Awesome.
So she's the partner of the cult leader and was giving birth to his child.
Ooh, excellent. Awesome.
That would explain why we're so ingrained in this, but we're not actually part of the cult,
Mm-hmm.
which will give us a little bit of friction to play with.
Yeah. Did the child survive?
Yes, for now.
Might be a little special.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm the child is the hocus, or is it a brainer? Maybe, because you could think that child might be a little damaged, might be a little special.
I like that a lot. I think that's really cool.
And then he wants to protect them and kind of makes them out, I don't know, as the savior or.
Every story's better with the weird psychic kid.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. I mean, there's this psychic maelstrom about, so it could be that the child might
have a connection to it.
That either has a deep connection to it, or that everyone expects they are going to have a deep connection to it, depending on how old they are.
Dune thing, like here's a child that all of a sudden, for whatever reason, became like conscious and aware in the womb, experienced their birth.
It's like here it says the brainers are the weird psychic mindfucks of
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, it's such a cool playbook, but I was like, I don't know you guys yet. So
yeah. It's interesting.
All about having sex with people, and it's like, okay, all right, hold on.
Yeah.
That might also be interesting because if we end up on their bad side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is an interesting question. About how much time do we think has passed since this kid was born?
Well, if it was Barbello's first rescue or like wading into it, maybe it happened when she was 10 and now it's like 18 or 17. She's 17. So 7 or 8 years later.
Okay. So the kid's
unless we want this child to be like
older.
Yeah.
But if he or she is 7 or 8, she's still pretty malleable, I would say. That would work for the cult because she wouldn't or he wouldn't yet step out and try and control things.
Right.
Not yet.
Right. So that's the conflict of becoming his.
Yeah. The cult leader, whoever the leader is still sort of basically puppeting them kind of right now, or whatever, speaking for them. Nice, cool, awesome. So that was Curt's question, right? So now we go back over to Vivacia to hit your second question.
Yes, and now I completely scrolled away from it.
Which
up.
one of
Here
you
we go.
is my favorite?
Yes, which probably would be Krista. I probably got a crush on Krista, but we're not telling her because she's so young and so crazy. She has not settled down enough yet.
Cool. Awesome. And then, well, let's see. Is there anything in particular that she does or has done for you that kind of helped cement that status?
I'm thinking that she might have been just hanging around when we hit like one of the hard holes, and when a situation happened, she might have saved one of my more fragile workers, from being abused or being kidnapped, something like that. That would make her an immediate friend of the whole place, which might make her stick around with us instead of leaving and doing whatever she was doing before.
Cool.
Because now she basically got free room and board, food and drink,
Feed me.
It's like for all our gratitude for, saving one of us. So that's how she started hanging around.
That's significant.
Pretty cushy job.
Yeah, let me actually make sure I have here is it? It's not going to be right there, is it? No, of course it won't. So now I just because you've just mentioned a hard hold, and again, is this something that we're thinking of, are we still thinking of it as mobile, or is this because hard hold, from what I understand, typically refers to a sort of a stationary.
I'm just thinking that what we're doing is we will be traveling around to different places where people saddle, and I'm guessing that she was in one of those hard hold when we were close by.
Okay.
To provide entertainment, and then she stuck with us and started traveling with us.
Gotcha. Okay. Good. Cool.
Are we thinking this is apocalypse after our current timeline, our timeline, or so is it?
We can, we haven't decided yet.
Because I was thinking about like giant crawling rigs, with tracks to go across the snow.
Oh, nice.
Or like, is it going to be more wagons and horses and that kind of thing?
Well, that's a great thought. I was going to get to that in just a minute, but we can talk about that now if folks would like to.
Yeah. In my head, it was like big old trucks, and us putting down tents with the pallets on the bottom. How you put out these big festival tents, and kind of like that. So maybe people on motorbikes or ATVs, because I have a feeling Krista would ride one of those mean old ones. Maybe a trike. Maybe like.
I do like the idea of. I'm gonna have to, I think, put something with treads in here somewhere, because the idea is now stuck in my head since you just said it. Because I saw Mortal Engines, but it doesn't necessarily have to be anything that you folks deal with. But I like the idea of some sort of big mobile thing that's out there somewhere. But we can. I'm going to put that in the box.
There might be like a big old waste in the middle, and there's like this track that goes from, and you can board this big one with all your big gear, kind of like a ferry, but it's on rails.
Oh, nice.
To get to the other side of whatever of the world is still left over, because nothing can really survive.
That's cool.
In the middle, so I'm guessing that would be cool if we start on one side of like the world or the continent, and to get to the other side, we have to kind of board this whatever big thing is, if it's on rails or if it's like a tank.
Yeah,
it's just ginormous, like a big train that just draws you over and keeps you like sealed in, because I don't know if it's nuked or if it's magic or whatever the crazy is, but you can't be out in it.
Yeah
I thought that would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty neat. Yeah, sort of almost a Snowpiercer thing in some
but
maybe
it's
not quite that much of it.
Yeah, but it's just for that certain area that people have to cross that way, so they got the monopoly on it. So everybody who wants to go places on upper sides of the continent has to.
The other side has to do that. Yeah, that's cool. No, I like that a lot. I like that.
And that would be a boiling pot too, especially because there should be a hard hold on one side and a hard hold on the other side, because that would be the big travel.
Yeah. That's
and if great. they need to hate each other.
they could. They easily could. The old rivalries are moving up again. No, very few people were alive when the previous rivalries happened, but that didn't end well. Let me just so that I can make sure we're catching this properly before we dive too far in down the rabbit hole here. Curt, did you want to ask your last question?
Oh, sure. Which one of you has been beside me all along and has seen everything I have seen? just taking them up. Yeah.
It's like I feel like I keep taking it, but I feel like my character is a shoo-in for that again. It's like, but then we don't know. What if Seth's character is like has been there that long too, but we don't know how old he is. Maybe he's her best friend.
I was thinking about maybe Seth could be like a sibling of mine.
That would be cool too if I took in both of them and they developed in different directions, which might, whatever reason we took him in, might be why he's so dedicated and why she's so worried of him.
That he's going to self-destruct himself because he's like I know him.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So we can pencil in.
There's a -2 and a +3. So I guess do those just.
Well, let me see if it's gonna this thing where it's like if your questions are gonna Let me see. How you get them? There's. I mean, I assume that you're just going to do math.
Yeah. Okay. So it just ends up being a +1.
Yeah, because it'll sort of
He knows me, and
even
I
out
know
to
him
that.
really well, but I still know that he's gonna
Yeah.
drive off
Yeah.
a cliff.
Interesting.
When I clicked on it, it asked me for the if you click on the little roll thingy where you put your HX in, it actually lets you choose between like plus whatever to minus,
Oh,
and
cool.
then I rolled it, and it was like it says Nandy rolls Krista 3, and it was 15 succeeds. So I'm
You did
guessing
very well.
it might have actually done what I wanted it to do for once.
That'll happen occasionally. It said 2d6 plus 3 plus 3 is what the math came out to. So if you already had a plus 3 on it,
We have a -2 because I know he's going to self-destruct.
Yeah.
So I guess just be just +1
Let
overall.
me see here. Yeah. That's what yeah. I mean, it was like, yeah. As far as you doing the math, I think when you roll your when you're rolling it, if you give me a second, I'm going to go in and actually just take a look at it. Yeah, the thing that the input value that pops up when you hit that's a modifier on the already existing one. So you already put you put an additional +3 on top of the +3 that it already got is what when you made that roll. So you normally, if you're just rolling plus history plus HX, and I don't tell you there are any particular if there are no modifiers going on right now, if you're not carrying +1 forward, or you're not getting help from anyone, or you're not getting interference from anyone that would modify the roll, then you just pick 0, and that will just use the +3 modifier. But he's good. That's working. That's good to know. So let's see. At this point, now that we've kind of gone through to kind of so you have that on your sheets. We're going to go around and highlight stats now. So each player finds the character your character knows best, the one with the highest history stat on your sheet, resolving ties by whim, and that other player says which stat is most interesting to them to highlight, and then I get to choose a second stat to highlight for your character. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll start with Michi again, and so I shall ask, who do you think knows your character best at this point, based on the history score that you that you threw in there? You have only like one. You had only one question. So.
I was like, it only gave me one question to work with.
So looking at your history scores, it's Barbello. Basically, it's got a 3.
Like, because I wasn't sure. I didn't want to put Seth's character in if I wasn't sure yet.
Sure. So if that's the case, then Barbello gets to say what stat to highlight.
You're muted.
So cool, hard, hot, sharp, or weird.
Yeah, if she's a battle babe, I want to see her go hard.
Awesome.
What do I do?
So
highlight.
Click on the little box that says highlighted. It's going to involve it's involved with the XP process. Basically, your highlighted stat, your stats, what have been highlit. Okay, so now I would like you to highlight. Based on what I've heard here today, I think I'd like to see your cool being highlight as well. Oh, hey. Thank you very much for the raid. Hello. Greetings, Drone Swarm. Thank you for coming. We're diving into some Apocalypse World here. We're doing our session 0, so we're very sort of chill, hanging out and figuring out stuff about our characters and the environment and what have you. As for what we're going to do for our basically the 3 following chapters of this short campaign. So those are your 2 highlight stats. We're going to go over to Curt. And who do you think is the you have the highest history with?
Definitely the madam.
Okay. What stat of Barbello's do you want highlighted?
I would definitely say cool, because she is very, very good under fire, in emergencies, trying to save people. And I'm thinking that should be highlighted. Or Nandy would think that would definitely be a highlight.
I must put on a good act because that's my worst stat.
Excellent.
Living a lie.
And so that was that. Which stat was that again?
Cool.
Cool. Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure. Okay. Oh, I want to see you highlight weird.
Okay. Me too. Okay.
And Vivacia. Who do you think knows you best?
Well, according to the numbers, it's Krista.
Okay. So for Krista, what do you want to see? What do you want to see Nandy highlight?
I'm gonna say, because of the type of person that she is, I want to say sharp, based on like her history and everything. I feel like that'd be
okay. Mark sharp.
Cool. So for some reason, the thing that's calling to me here. No, wait. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna go with your hot stat, I think, is what I'd like to highlight.
I don't mind that. That's my hottest stat.
I think I did lean into people's strengths when I was asking for it, but I'm like, I want to see you do the thing that you do. Basically, that's I want to see how this game works. So I kind of want to find that out. Okay, so I believe so. There's an interaction with XP when you do things with that stat. I have to go back and remind myself and figure that out as when we're going. But that'll be when we get into it in the upcoming sessions. All right, cool. So we've gone through highlighting stuff. Okay, that's as far as the book takes us, and so now I'm going to go away. We're now going to go just flying off the track and into the wilderness now as I ask us to world build. So a few things that we talked about in general that I'm just going to start with a little bit will have to do with our overall terrain. We talked about it a little bit. We know that there are on this continent somewhere that we're on, we have 2 major areas that perhaps don't like each other too much, and a zone in between that cannot support life, and that you have to use some sort of special transportation to cross. That's the most we know so far. What do we think? Do we have any ideas in general about kind of what the climate is like here? What are we thinking? Because I've heard possibilities of snow. I've heard the possibility of wastes. What do we want to say?
I mean, if it's divided north and south. It might be that the north is more kind of stereotypical, colder, resource rich. So that the north and the south would be more fertile, maybe, and more warmer, so that they have to interact because the south won't have the resources and the north will not have the food. So, which then makes this fight or this war, whatever they used to have in the back, which will give them a big incentive of having to travel over this wasteland, and will also then maybe give us or the cult that we're traveling with the way to get away from when it gets too hot, so go over to the other side of the continent for a while and then come back. I mean, that's a little stereotypical, but I'm thinking that would give us a big difference. We can go with the snow and really dreary, and maybe there's more desert or more sadness closer to the wasteland. You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing. It's like craggy and and I don't know. And then further south, typical. Maybe there's more oases, more jungle. Why the further north you get more frostpunk.
Michi.
So I just don't like cutting in on people, so I raise my hand.
I talk too much.
No, you're fine. I was thinking like more of like two extremes. So like playing off of the whole like snow and like heat thing. I wouldn't say like the north is like has more resources, because I want to say that what happened is that there was a land in between them that was like even, so it's like more extreme snow, more extreme heat, and then like as the climates kind of meet, like it's like, oh, this is a good area, but they fought over that area, which ended up destroying that middle ground.
Cupertino.
So yeah, so like that's why like that area is more of like a wastelandish kind of situation now because of their war. And then like in order for them to survive though, they have to trade still, because they have certain resources that the south doesn't have, and south has certain resources that the north doesn't have, like, and they need each other in order to survive.
So like tundra, desert, sludge. Basically, it's kind of
I'm having visions of the coastline and steampunk pirates who prey on them both.
I mean, that's a given. That's entirely possible. But that's entirely possible.
I like the idea of like again, because it's only going to do a 3-session deal. We'll be on rails, so there are like these rail systems that go north and south. That is the most expedient way to get back and forth.
Yeah.
Like the vehicles themselves could probably drive off of the rail system, but then if they get on the rails, that's the e-ticket to make it through the wastelands.
So is this the primary way that your troop travels?
Well, between the north and the south.
Yeah, if we're going south.
Because that's kind of my and what's kind of going to be key here again, because we only have the 3 sessions. Do you folks want this to be a thing that's going to take place where you're traveling around mostly in one area, or do you want it to be mostly like you start in one area in transit and then end up at the other area?
I like A to B. Like there's a beginning, a middle, and an end kind of to it. But that's...
Well, it would bookmark the sessions pretty well.
I mean, if we had a longer arc, you could kind of just muddle about and really develop, but I mean, it's kind of cool to have this overarching pressure that this has to happen for whatever reason.
Yeah, that we only have a limited amount of time before we get to the next stop.
Right.
I was gonna say that like maybe our troop travels off-road instead of on the rails, because maybe it is faster to not follow the rails, but it's harder to do so, which plays into like needing a really good mechanic and stuff like that can like take care of the upkeep and everything. And so but that's like why there's the advantage for people to also communicate with our group that travels back and forth.
Maybe we provide an alternative way, like these pirates or whatever that kind of control the rail systems or feed on the people trying to travel the rail systems. We offer a way to get around them because we can do an off-road. Yeah, we can go off-rail.
Interesting. So you've got like maybe your own environment things that you travel in when you're crossing the central the central slush or whatever it is. That's interesting.
That would also make sense if we're like we're not a circus, but if we're traveling, it's not even a carnival or whatever, like a fun.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Traveling festival thingy.
Yeah, like a festival. Then it would make sense if we have our own habitats that are kind of controlled, because if we're going both in the cold and in the hot, that would make sense. And we can then picking people up and taking them with us might actually then make up for the travel costs to get back to the other side.
So I'm thinking then that based on what I'm hearing here, I'm feeling like maybe, and also to keep it from being too, we like to say everything with A will be finished by the end of session A, and everything with B will be finished by the end of session B. But just in case, I'm thinking of mostly building out now sort of I'm thinking like the waste area is going to be the most interesting because of this. And you could be easily, this could be a trip where you're traveling across. But I think this is more going to be about, rather than being about either destination A or destination B, it will be about the journey. It'll be about the things that are along the way. So
it would also force more dramatic energy, because there's no outside. You have to, everything has to be inside our moving compound.
Most of it does, yes. But it does. Well, I mean, that's the thing, is there going to be stops you might have to make or things you might have to do so yeah. So your moving compound, do we think that is, so it's multiple vehicles? Or it's is a thing where
some
it's
sort
like
of big tent on tracks. I like the idea.
Like what I'm thinking. Well, like what I'm picturing is like not completely, like just one vehicle. Like it would be like one vehicle surrounded by like maybe a couple of like smaller vehicles to be like scouts in a sense.
Okay.
Or like in case like trouble does happen, like they're the ones who would have to try and like take care of it.
Cool. How big do we think your main vehicle is?
Well, I'm guessing the main vehicle would be the cult one, but I do think my establishment would run on a smaller vehicle, but it's not as small as the scouts, because since we joined in, we wouldn't be in the same vehicle, because that was not built for us. And if there's anybody else that follows along that's not part of the cult, they would have smaller vehicles. So I'm kind of thinking maybe we're like, I want to say it, but like the Roma, kind of like
you're travelers.
Yeah, but you know, all with their own vehicles and all kind of different kind of, you know, stuff, and we're all traveling together. But I don't know, how big should the cult one be? I mean, it has to have enough space for the people, has to have enough space for the meeting place that they're putting up, where they're cooking, where they're washing, where they're going potty.
I'm thinking village, basically. I'm thinking about the size of a small village, at least.
Maybe like on like big tank chains or something. I don't know.
I can see that. So you got this convoy basically that is
or like a hover,
by this thing.
Like a hover vehicle. I don't know.
I think they've got something in order to be able to do what they do. They've got they have to have something. Some it's like they ended up with some major resource that helps them travel and do this. So it could be a thing on treads. It could be. I mean, it could be a hovering thing, possibly. Although that one that will make this, if they hover the way that I'm thinking they might hover, this is going to make it so much more Dune-like very quickly. But depends on if they hover by psychic by psychic pilots or something. That would be insane, but possible. But then the trouble with that is every vehicle in the convoy might also have to similarly do that. It has to be something that where other vehicles can come along. And I think it's just a question of adequately enclosing each of the vehicles, right? Unless you've got a thing where it's, say, like there is some sort of psychic thing going off where they're holding off. They're creating a bubble of environment. That's another possibility around the convoy as it goes. Although, if we use that as a limitation, that means you're going to have a bunch of psychic people in the cult in shifts having to maintain it.
Right.
And so the longer you stay in there, the more energy that's going to take.
I would say
That just
it's
depends on how
probably
you
more mechanical.
Okay.
I'm thinking, because he might have had something smaller before, his kid came around, and he expanded on that whole thing, I'm guessing. And I really like what Curt just...
One moment whilst I fix the audio. There we go. Sorry.
So,
Someone linked something, and then it automatically began playing, which means that we were all being drowned out for a moment.
Biggest vehicle ever built to get them there.
Oh,
6
that
million
looks-
pound
that looks
crawler
very cool.
transporter.
That looks very cool. Okay, we're all taking a moment and looking at a space shuttle carrier thing as a possible inspiration. Here, let me share it with you in chat so you can see what we're talking about.
I mean, that would be amazing.
So I was just thinking about like the idea that like north south, like again, I don't know how real world we want to connect all this, if it even matters, but like Florida, New York, or something like that, or like so that you have Cape Canaveral, and someone was able to bring this rig up. Use it.
Oh,
You guys are all
nice. That is nice.
Might even run
like this
partially on solar power. Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
So, because else we wouldn't be able to have the amount of gas that thing would need.
Right.
Well, yeah.
But that might would also give us, the initiative to keep moving, because in the south we won't have to pay for gas, but in the north we might make more money. So it's like, so that we can. It's basically like an electric car. It's just solar and gas.
So I will say that's probably not going to be, as Rock is pointing out, that's probably not going to be faster than a rail system necessarily, unless somehow the rails have to...
It's probably more of a privacy thing, because who knows if we're not also smuggling.
Well, and also the fact of having something that's a hard hold. Like the wastelands are deadly. Like they're, for whatever reason, the things that are out there make it the environment, and then maybe the organisms that were able to survive, mutants or whatever, something like that kind of thing. Yeah.
His cult might also be based on, being self-sufficient, or, most of the hardholds find him or her a threat.
I was gonna also say that like maybe the rail system, instead of it cutting straight across, it probably like has a longer route to take, where it kind of just goes around like the wastelands. So it's like, as opposed to like our vehicles, which just go straight.
Just rolls right through.
Yeah, like instead of so yeah,
it's possible that like if say the rail system starts up north and has to cut west and go around this the area, so that they've made it so like they can't as adequately protect their vehicles somehow as this cult can, for whatever reason, or they just didn't want to take that risk.
I was also gonna say that like maybe it's that this cult also, or like at least the ones that are like traveling, they have a slight resistance to whatever's out there. Like they've trained for a while to be able to be out there, as opposed to people who are just traveling.
Cool. No, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then if the kid is a brainer, he can also control minds. I think, wasn't it like that? So he might be able to keep people away from the convoy. I
That's
don't
possible.
know.
That's
We
possible.
don't know.
Yeah, possible. Yeah, it's
You know,
possible. Interesting
might be that our characters wouldn't even know either because we're not that
Yeah.
deep into the cult.
If you're not, well, it's a good question. We're gonna need to make sure that we have a sufficient amount of interaction with things and places and people as we go along. So I think that, yeah, it's going to be an interesting sort of thing covering the wastes. I think that if we might want to set this where it's like where it's like going to be coming from one, we might want to set it where it's like coming from like the edge of the wastes into one of the two areas, maybe.
Yeah,
Or
it might just
versa.
be that we're on the bottom. If I think about cults, they all got hierarchies. There's no way, everybody, there's a big lower level, and then you have to achieve the next level. And, they probably wouldn't trust us all the way, but they would interact with us, and we would interact with them because we are part of their little village, and they probably still want us to join.
If you're in a separate vehicle, which is the kind of the next logistic thing I wanted to ask about. I'm going to presume your vehicle also has similar protective measures. For a little while, I was wondering if it was a question of height because I was looking at those treads and that thing was like way above the surface of the thing.
Well,
but
I mean, in the end, if we're just saying we are creepy crawly big vehicles, and if I don't even know if they're driving in shifts. Are we taking breaks? You can probably transfer over to another vehicle. We probably got ways to communicate with radio or something else. Maybe we don't have to go too far into the details because us, we're gonna get bogged down
well,
by
yeah,
wheel height and ladders, and are we wearing helmets?
that's like the
I
main
like
thing.
the idea of having this like giant refuge that's nearby us, but it has a cost. Like when we try to fan out and do what we're going to do and like explore the best route as scouts, as we're maybe or we're providing entertainment, but then the shit goes south and the ramps roll down on the big rig and we all go up inside and that's a hiding spot. But then you have to deal with the cult, and that's we've kind of glommed onto the cult for protection to be able to make this move, but at the same time it comes with a cost.
Yeah, Michi, what was it?
I was gonna say, like, just to kind of simplify in order to like interact with the outside world and everything, like I maybe instead of it being so much that like it's dangerous outside, like psychically, like it'll like mess with your mind if you don't have this protection kind of thing. Like I think that's like a minor situation, and that's where like all the training of being outside of like the protective bubble comes in. But the dangers are more so the terrain and bandits and things like that, and that's where like you have your like gangs and like little fleet of fighting people like come into play and stuff like that. So the whole like, I wouldn't say it's like a protective dome where you need psychics. Like maybe you have like walls and like tiers, so that way it's easier to combat.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So like that way we don't have to worry about like having psychics take shifts, stuff like that, and like having to worry about how we're going to interact with people. Like at least then there's like multiple reasons why people don't usually travel straight across. But we have the resources, and the cult has the resources, and everything like that for us to either travel off on our own or to stay close to them, because there's strength in numbers.
Okay. So I think that I think that what we're going to do at this point, since we've kind of built up a little bit, I'm going to have us start naming specific things, just like a kind of a one each type thing, going around a number of times. First, though, I think we're going to go ahead and take a break, if you folks would be good with that. And then when we come back, we'll delve into a little bit of the just a little bit of things that one can find on the way down, and as one makes this trip. And so I think that's where we're going to go with this. So we will see you, and we'll be back in like 5-10 minutes. We'll see you soon. We have returned, and we shall now be figuring out more things as we go along. So I feel as though this will be this will involve a voyage. One of your voyages. Well, it's one of your regular circuits that you travel through the wastes. Possibly. I feel it's. Are we heading north or south?
South.
We're heading south to the more desert-like region. And what I would like to know, first off, I am going to borrow something from the Quiet Ear here real quick to help us figure out. I think we've determined that the wastes, there is a light issue of certain, maybe there's concentration of the psychic maelstrom there. Might make people a little bit nuts if you don't know how to deal with it. It's better to be with a convoy of people if you can, if you're going through it, because then it's, it's even just, I feel like even just regularly talking to and interacting with people who know how to deal with it helps you deal with it. So I'm going to ask, first of all, as you're heading through, and this will be from the perspective of your convoy, of your entertainment convoy, that you are your entertaining cult convoy. What resources are important narratively to you? And I'm gonna say that you have, as one does with, say, like the Quiet Ear, one of these resources is in abundance, and the other two are in deficit, basically, right now. You do not have. There is a shortage of these things. So we can go ahead and name name resources that would be important to us, and then out of those picks. So I'd like you each one of you to name one of those. Since I'm just springing this on you, I will let you go in whatever order you like.
Fuel. So we're traveling.
Fuel. Okay, that's one, and we can decide what kind of fuel as we go, if we need to, or whatever we want to call it.
Rations, food and drink. Food and drink, especially since, I'm running an establishment with a bar and we have to feed everybody who travels with us, including their cult.
Food and drink.
And water, because in the wasteland, you don't know if we can drink that water.
Well, yeah, food. I'm including that with food and drink, basically.
Yeah.
Sort of sustenance. All right. And Michi, what resource would you like also to be narratively important? I will say the first time that one of the earlier times that I played the Quiet Year, and someone asked me for a resource, I just blurted out robots. So I mean, it could be anything, just so you're aware. But a resource that is narratively important.
Medicine.
Medicine. Good. Okay. So of these three, fuel, food and drink, and medicine, which is the one that we have in abundance?
So I was thinking that the technology that maybe drives this thing could be like hydrogen based. So then the north has lots of fresh water, and that would provide almost kind of taking care of water and fuel in one go. So we have lots of fresh water, and maybe that's the goal of this big machine, is to bring fresh water back down to these places where they can grow food, they can have medicine, they can have all these benefits, but that's the thing we have going for us.
Okay, so just out of here, so you're saying if it's hydrogen based, you're saying that the water kind of is the fuel?
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we separate it out? If you folks would be good with this, then if I separate water from food and drink, And we would say that you have an abundance of water/fuel, but shortage of food and medicine. Or you don't have it very much in abundance. It's like what you have, you don't have a lot of.
Well, depends on if we're able to make alcohol. That would be one of my character's big things, because I don't serve food in my entertainment. Because I had to pick like multiple things.
No, alcohol does not. Yeah, I'm not going to have alcohol count as food. That's going to be its own thing.
But because if we have lots of water but we don't have any food somewhere, probably alcohol might not be as abundant either.
I feel like it would be a do-it-your-own risk type thing, actually, at that point, basically.
Maybe we make our own, huh?
No, yeah, I mean, you could easily... I can see you making it in a still. You probably have enough things that you can... you probably don't have a lot of alcohol.
But I might maybe that's one of the draws. Maybe I make my own.
Yeah,
or I have somebody on my troop that makes their own. That is a draw to our establishment too.
So I mean, it's like you wouldn't necessarily have
a lot. Just maybe special expensive.
Yeah. I'm feeling that then it would probably be more trying to think if you the one food stuff that you have access to more than anything else. I guess it's probably going to be then so now thinking it through. That means that it's probably more like things. It strikes me as it would be more things you can make beer out of than you can make wine or liquor out of. Because wine and liquor, that's more sort of like vegetables and fruits and things like that.
That could be something that we make in the north and are taking south.
But we can't make. We might need the ingredients from the south and the water from the north.
Right.
So another reason for us to be traveling back and forth and attach us to the cold.
Maybe like distilling is a really fuel intensive process. So like it can only really be done well in the north.
I'm just thinking something along the lines of absinthe, but maybe in a different way, because that might enhance the experience of watching the burlesque show too.
Yeah.
I don't even know how absinthe is made.
It could also be something that lets people either prevent or enhance the psychic maelstrom experience. So it's psychic juice.
Well, that's the interesting thing. Absinthe, and its flavored spirit derived from botanicals, including the flowers and leaves of Artemisia absinthium, grand wormwood, together with green anise.
I thought that would be easier
herbs.
for us to get like grain or anything, or like hops. That would be hard because somebody has to grow it. But if it is from something that we can collect, maybe it's even something we collect in the wastelands that we then use the water to turn into this very specific liquor that might have
stuff you can't eat, but you can make an absinthe-like thing out of it.
And that might also be the reason that the cold actually likes us having us around, because the people who drink it might be more susceptible to the message or their whatever.
So you also will get to name this drink if you so desire.
I'm already in my brain like I will have to come up with something.
Oh yes, or you could just call it absinthe if you like. I mean, it's been 50 years since the apocalypse at least, so it's
nobody's trademark is going to come for us, but I'll think about it.
So whatever you wish. That's good. So you are the couriers of water. Water is what is the resource this cult has, which is why it probably has as much capital as it does.
And I was thinking, partially interesting if it was ice, like this huge big chunk of ice. That's they could use that.
I'm imagining like inside the main vehicle, you have like these big refrigeration units that you store the ice in. These freezers.
Ice pirates.
Ice pirates. and
And I guess we can run the compound from whatever of the water that melts that we like siphon off, so we don't lose anything from the containers, because we probably cannot keep it 100% from that melting.
Right.
Man, we're going deep into this.
well, no, we've got enough information there where we just basically, I think we've got sort of a feel for it. I'm going to now ask, as you are heading south, there are certain things you're going to encounter in the terrain. Points of interest, basically. Now, this is separate from settlements, necessarily. I'm more asking about stuff that you can find out there somewhere. It doesn't have to be natural features, but it's like, say if we discovered this thing. There's this thing here. And I'm going to ask each of you to, if you would, name a thing that you think would be interesting for us to see, either in the wastes or at the edge of the desert area. And whoever has one may go first. I shall now play the Jeopardy theme.
So I'm thinking like right at the midpoint of the wastes is this kind of like scorched earth type of area, like just as an indicator of like the war, stuff like that, but it's like nothing can grow there, and that's like the exact midpoint. And like just to make it kind of creepy is that like you can sometimes see like outlines of people like burned in.
Okay.
But like that's one of the biggest like remnants
Pompeii.
of the war, but also a marker to know where you are while you're traveling.
Okay. If that is at the exact center, that is probably where we're going to be starting. Since the premise is you're heading south toward the desert, so that's roughly where we're going to start this narrative.
I want to build on that one.
Somewhere near the Pompeii. Cool. I like it. And I also feel as though the psychic maelstrom probably goes kind of crazy in certain parts of that. All right. What else?
Yeah, so building on that, because that's kind of exactly what I was thinking about, is like a little bit more about the apocalypse itself, and just thinking about energy, that there was some sort of 0-point reactor that went online at that point that was going to solve all our energy problems. Instead, just vaporized everybody and opened up some rift into the psychic maelstrom. So that's the epicenter, and that's,
okay, cool.
The weirdness kind of ripples out from that point.
Excellent.
And like maybe that can be further south, so that way it's an indicator as to why it's more like, I mean, other than, world, but that's why it's more desert that way, as opposed to ice.
Oh.
So maybe we have not like a mountain range, but something that blocked the way, so that more of it ended up towards the south than the north. You know what I mean? If we're talking, this went in waves, and it started in the middle, and the south was more affected than the north. There must have been something that diverted, kind of like clouds hit mountains and they don't go over.
The thing on so basically, you had this thing, this area with a reactor that was this thing. That
because I was actually thinking
at the edge of a like say the southern edge of this, like a range of mountains.
It's Hawkins.
I was actually thinking like a big old research station, kind of like in Stargate, where the Stargate program is. I thought that would be with like a base in front of it, like completely abandoned and old. I thought that would be a really cool like landmarker. And that would also, because it would have to be built into some kind of cliff face, or or mountain hill, whatever. And maybe that mountain range or something would be something that we would pass to get to the blast area, where the thing used to be.
Maybe this I'm going to call it Hawkins Hope because I'm thinking of Stephen Hawkins. Like this created this thing on top of this mountain, and the train system goes through a tunnel underneath it.
Ooh, that would be cool too.
Interesting. Okay.
We're going deep.
So
Jim's gonna write a novel about this in the end.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how your vehicles deal with this. I guess maybe you're on the other side of this mountain range. Does that make sense?
Right.
I mean, there must be ways to get through there. It might also be that like Michi said, if the train takes a longer route, that maybe it goes through an area where there is less interference, and it kind of like goes around, and we just cut straight through. Maybe there's like a pass or something that we go through, but
I
that
was
has
gonna say like maybe if
that has the most psychic interference, maybe, and that's why the train goes around it.
Yeah, Michi, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say like maybe like the blast that like from Hawkins Hole like created kind of like a like a little crease in the mountain that basically lets you pass through.
Oh, interesting.
And there might be a tribe of crazy mutants living close by. We will see what Jim comes up with. I can't wait.
It's entirely possible. So basically, it's there. So I just want to reiterate. Are we putting the research base also the same place as the reactor? Is that what we're saying? Or are these separate locations?
I would think there are probably separate locations.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking this whole thing was north versus south, and if the south had the, what would we say, Hawkins Hole, then I'm guessing
Used to be Hawkins Hope. Perhaps now it's Hawkins Hole.
Yeah. So that Hawkins Crater. I would think that would be a little further, as close as the North maybe could get, because they were also wanted to have their technology without spying. I'm guessing. I don't think they're in the same spot.
Right.
I would think that is something that they had to maybe steal their technology.
Okay. All right. So. Okay. The research base was established as far north as they could get to. Perhaps the reactor was a thing of the north. Placed as far south as they could put it. The research base was placed as far north as the people in the south could put it. They were kind of trying to check in on each other. Probably on either side, you'd encounter those things on either side of this pass. So the reactor core center, whatever, is to the north, and again, for a little further north than that, you have like the scorched earth area. And you have the mountain range, you have the pass, and then to the south of that, somewhere along cliffs or wherever, you have this. You have the research base, which is no longer a very good place to be, perhaps. Okay, that's good. That's good. I got 3 areas out of that, so that's what I was looking for. So next, I'm going to ask for ideas for settlements that you're going to encounter. Now, when I say settlements, this can be anything from like lean-to with single crazy guy to like there's a city of of people somewhere. Somewhere perhaps out in the wastes. We don't know. It could be out in the wastes. It could be at the edge of the desert. Don't know. But I'd like to see if you have ideas for any kind of settlement that you might encounter on the way south?
Maybe like an abbey or something of doomsday monks. Because it was the apocalypse, so there must be somebody who thinks this was to punish everybody else, and they're going to try and keep themselves pure and separate and wait for
Doomsday
I don't
Abbey.
even know what.
Awesome. I am enjoying the Doomsday Abbey. Cool. All right, there'll be one of those. Anyone else have an idea for a thing?
Some sort of like military junkyard place where maybe there's just pieces and parts and all that stuff. It's something that maybe it's kind of a bit of a Valhalla for Seth. Like he just loves to go there.
Oh, it could be run by a biker gang. Ooh,
Right.
that would be
Well,
so
yeah,
cool.
that's what I'm thinking. Is that it's probably gang run
Somewhere there's a Gatling gun.
somewhere. If only we dig deep enough. Cool. Michi, what kind of thing would you like to see?
I'm thinking this is gonna be like kind of a little bit weird and like twisted, but I'm thinking that there's like a small little village that kind of embraces the psychic maelstrom, and like they're not completely crazy. Like the things they say make sense and everything like that, but they like revel in the crazy. So they like embrace that whole entire thing, and like they're like dancing all the time and like, you know, partying it up and just living life and everything like that. Like so some people like might even view them as barbarians, but like when you converse with them, like they might be like probably like one of the smartest people ever. But they're just having fun. And that's their way of life. But reason why I'm saying it's kind of twisted is that like in their, I want to say that they're closer to the Hawkins Hole, and you can see that their village used to be bigger. So they're essentially the survivors, the remnants from all of that, essentially. And so like maybe they embraced it because they're like, you know what, this is life, but who knows? But some people might think they're barbarians, but they're just having at it.
Interesting. Cool. I like it. Very good. I feel as though... Yes. Yeah. So I feel as though these three settlements are probably going to have some kind of so I kind of want to pit two of these settlements against each other.
Well, the Abbey will hate the people embracing it.
We could have a triangle of pain if we wanted, or we can just go
triangle of hate.
I mean, because the Abbey will definitely hate the people who are embracing it, because those are basically the people that are keeping it there. They're not pure.
Yeah. So maybe you have a situation where the folks in the Abbey are trying to purify the Maelstrom village. It's like just very much this sort of opposing ethoses. And then the gang that runs the military junkyard probably raid everybody. So it's not, it's just a question of who's on the list today, and it's probably harder to hit the Abbey than it is to hit the village. But then the village doesn't have as much, so it's really a question of who are you going to raid today?
I feel like the Abbey just has a hard time with the village, because the village is like woo, and they're like no, listen, they're like woo.
Yeah, it's basically that. I mean, that's I think that's the spread of religious sects there in a nutshell. The whole difficulty with them. But yes, that works. Okay. So now, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask for. Okay, I'm asking for 2 sets of NPCs. So the first set is going to come from within your convoy. So we'll just focus on that for right now. I'd like you each to come up with an NPC that is significant to your character in some way that you have a connection to. Now, and then I'm going to ask for other things off of. I'm going to bounce off of that afterward. But we already know that we have a cult leader. We have their star child, or whoever that is like 7 or 8. We have Michaela. These are people we already have at this point. But I would like to see if we have anyone else that to make use of.
Is it humans?
It can be anything that can talk back.
Well, for my bar, I would think I would definitely need an amazing barkeep, and I would need my main attraction. So I would need somebody to run the bar. And I mean service, not me who runs the whole thing, but the person who's behind the bar and make sure that everybody is taken care of and nothing goes missing. And then I'm thinking the diva, who's my best burlesque dancer.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. You can come up with more than one, by the way. I'm not limiting you all to just one.
Yeah. Well, and I also got a bouncer, but that bouncer is not as good as Krista, so I'm not sure how specific his big dude is.
That's fine. Do you want to pick one of those 3 that you just came up with to be the one that is most narratively significant to you over the next 3 sessions?
I would probably say the main attraction, the burlesque dancer.
Burlesque dancer, gotcha. Cool. These, of course, are people you can name if you wish. Otherwise, I will come up with names. You don't have to do it right this second, but you can if you wish.
In my mind, it says Rosalind, but that doesn't really sound like a burlesque dancer.
One can come up with any number of these.
How about Gemma?
Yeah, okay. Cool.
That sounds like it could be a name, but it could also be a stage name.
Totally. No, that works. All right. Would anyone else care to volunteer an NPC?
I'd like to build more on the Wonder Child and call her Polaris.
Oh my God. Yes.
And so when she
is a star child
under a starry sky, like she gets this really divining sense, can see into the future. She has very real horoscopes that come true. And unfortunately, my connection with her is that because I birthed her, I sometimes have this direct link with her. Like I can see what she sees.
Nice.
That will probably happen at the most
useful time.
Yeah, where you're about to do something and there it comes.
I just need one more stitch. Oh boy.
No.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay. Michi, do you have someone?
I'm gonna play on Nandy's bouncer.
Okay.
So I think I want to name him Torque, like TRQUE.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of watches out for Krista. Wants her to become more serious about like her role and just stop being so curious and getting into trouble and stuff like that. Like he's definitely like a straight up guy that like wants no trouble, make sure no trouble happens, stuff like that. And like I'd say he looks like the opposite of Krista. Like he definitely looks more terrifying than she does.
Yeah.
But she would be the one that would like be able to actually hurt someone more than he would, because he's kind of a little bit of like a teddy bear on the inside where he like doesn't want to hurt someone, but he will if he really, really has to.
Yeah.
But he's hesitant.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Awesome. Okay. Now, that said, what I'd like to know here. So we have a direct. So we already have kind of an interconnected thing between Torque, because Torque has a connection to is the bouncer for Nandi. But otherwise we have sort of their one-to-one so far as connections go. So this means that I need someone else to have a connection with Polaris, and someone else to also have a connection with Gemma. We could just say that's Seth, but
I'd like to have Babs have a total obsession, fascination, completely hidden. Nobody knows about it except maybe the madam with Gemma.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would think Nandi probably bonded with Michaela too, because they're maybe they're both a little older, and she probably needed somebody to help mother that special child, and Angel wouldn't really have been the real person to turn to, and her husband is probably so deep into the cult thing that he wouldn't really be focused on Polaris as a child.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that that would have been a relationship that might have developed, that also might have been a reason that we stuck with the cold, that give us a reason to stay that is not the cold or money.
Well, yeah, that's that's there too. Cool. No, it's good.
Maybe Polaris looks up to Krista. Maybe Polaris is like, looking up to Krista because she's pretty, she's hot, she's free. She's kind of not restricted. She can
I like
do whatever
that idea too.
Whatever the F she wants.
Michi, if you're good, are you good with that?
Yes.
There might be a little bit of hero worship going on right there.
It doesn't help that Krista has puppies.
Mm-hmm.
It probably does not.
Puppies. And Daddy probably does not like that at all.
Probably not. But that's going to be very interesting. Cool. Okay. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you view this, I had an idea for another category to ask you about while we were talking about this, but I realized it might be a little important. And this has to do with points of interest within the convoy itself. Now, this can be other vehicles. What other vehicles are around besides yours? We already know they have the freezers. We already know they have the ice. But I'd just kind of like, if possible, from each of you, for within the convoy itself, another thing, and it can be, like I said, another vehicle, one of the smaller vehicles, or it can be something that's inside the big vehicle. Any of those things.
Well, Seth, the mechanic, he needs a mechanic shop. And
I was going to say the same thing.
That would probably be his own vehicle, I'm guessing. But that depends if he wants to do that. So.
Yeah, let's leave that for him to sort out.
So
he can certainly have it.
A congregation hall, like a not like a church, but somewhere where the cold person can show off Polaris and her horoscopes, and where they can get together and, I don't know what they pray, meditate, whatever they're doing, where we are probably barred from entry depending on what level the celebration or the attendance is on, and that it might be something that's right on top of the tanks, so it's cold. Because cold is quiet, is Polaris, is stars, is all of that.
Hypothermia as part of the prayer process.
Oh my God.
So just
Bond with
because
the ice.
what else would you like to put straight on top of the tanks, right?
Mhm.
There's probably then a big hall too.
Okay.
And nothing comfortable, because I don't think the cult leader would want them to be
Now that can
comfortable.
sit on the ice for an hour shall achieve.
Oh
I
my
don't think
God.
it would be not on top of the ice. It would be on top of there would be a room, I think, on top of the tanks.
Oh yeah.
So that that it's not a comfortable place, because
Yeah.
I don't think he would want them to be comfortable. He would want them awed and following, and not like our normal church experience where there's somebody in the back and a kid is crying, you know?
Shivering the whole time.
Well, yeah, it's like, no, you're going to be awake through this. Very good, very good. Okay, congregation hall, good. Anyone else have one?
Well, an infirmary of some sort. Someplace
Hmm.
where I could go. Like, it's actually one of my moves, but I didn't take it yet. So maybe it's something that's going to get developed.
I like the idea that there's an ambulance
Yeah.
as part of your convoy, and that has been turned into an infirmary.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like maybe it's a big kind of, it's a bigger vehicle. It's not like, but it's like it's been that it was like someone built onto an ambulance and just sort of is creating an infirmary out of it.
More than meets the eye.
Robot ambulance.
Robot ambulance.
And tracks. It's going to be on tracks, because if we're going to be doing all
Yeah.
this off-road stuff, I can't imagine wheels working at all.
So in my notes, I am writing robot ambulance on tracks.
Yeah.
Whatever that ends up meaning, we don't know. But
Optimus
we will
Prime
see.
with an ambulance.
Not necessarily. We'll see. It's not necessarily a transformer. Robots can mean a number of different things.
Yes.
But that's good. Okay, Michi, do you have
Metabot.
A bathhouse.
Bathhouse?
Since there's a plethora of water.
Yes. I love that. Is that
Yeah, with
something?
some steam rooms, that would be so cool.
Is that something that's part of your? Is that something that's like part of or adjunct to your own vehicle? Because that sounds like something you might interact with as part of the bordello.
Yeah, that would be cool. But it also.
Or is it just its own mobile bathhouse tank going around?
I'm just wondering, because we got fuel, we got ice, and the steaming might also then have to do with the religion that they're building. But I'm not quite sure yet. But I think like a bathhouse, like kind of like a Turkish bathhouse, that kind, with steam rooms and stuff like that. That would be really cool.
And if you're using hydrogen fuel, the only waste product is steam. So you just have steam coming off of the tailpipes or something like that, and charge them for that. Get them coming and going.
So it must be probably on the big vehicle then.
It was probably on the big vehicle.
I don't know. It depends on how much steam a smaller vehicle will create.
That's fair. Oh, I see. I understand. If you're trying to just make it where, well, yeah, you'd have the
Because
steam.
they might have a big room on like a big
Yeah.
a big
Kind
one
of
on
like-
the thing, and we might have a personal one with more private massages.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe, and I like this idea that there's like, you've got your own personal sort of thing you can rig up, but there's actually like maybe there are rumors
Communal?
of this
Maybe
one.
like an actual, like, there's like a bath area in the big one, but there's like a bath house that's attached to the.
Yeah, that's
Bordello.
like we're using all our waste products, and there's a rumor that there's happy endings.
Oh.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's attached to the bordello.
Well, maybe it's not as much as a rumor as it's an open secret,
But well, no. What I'm thinking here, let me say. I'm thinking there's a rumor that there's this more luxurious bathhouse-like thing somewhere near the engines of the big one, but
Ooh,
that
yeah.
only
A fancy one.
very
That only the
high
big
members
ones.
of the cult can go in. So
And the plebs get the plain
Yeah.
one.
exactly, totally.
It's okay. We just came up with multiple bathrooms, and there's the rumor of a very luxurious ones that only the upper echelon can access in the big one, and we have our own small bordello one that gives
Yeah.
special service.
Yes.
That's like cleaned like every couple of hours. Or every hour, depending.
Oh,
Maybe my NPC should have been a janitor.
He exists, we just
knows?
don't talk about him.
And the paper could be bleach.
awesome, awesome. Okay. Okay. So let me see. Looking over my notes here. So I have a second set of NPCs that I want to go over, and that has to do that I'd like to generate, and that has to do with ones that are outside of the convoy. That again that will be significant to your characters in some way. Now these can come from the Doomsday Abbey, the military junkyard, the Maelstrom Village. Those are the main places that they're going to be. They could be from somewhere else, but those are the three main locations that we're going to be dealing with as far as this little mini campaign is concerned. So it's going to be more likely they're from there, but they can be from anywhere, as long as it's from outside the convoy. So if anyone has an idea for an NPC that your character knows is attached to in some way, then we shall come up with something.
We were kind of talking in chat about, who we would cast in the B horror flick that is the Doomsday Abbey. And we came up with Christopher Lee and Tim Curry. And I thought Tim Curry in Criminal Minds as the Dark Prince, I think his name was Billy Flynn. He was terrifying. He played that terrifying. Maybe the abbot could be called Flynn.
Possibly.
Or we do Lee. I don't know what sounds better.
Yeah, we could. Either of those are fine. I'm good with that. What I'm looking for right now, though, are NPCs from outside the convoy. Oh, the abbot. I'm sorry, brain. That is outside the convoy. That's the abbey. So the abbot would be. Yeah, I like that. But is that someone specific to your character? That's connected to your character in some way?
I'm thinking.
Could be. Would be interesting.
I'm thinking, if we're keeping with the Taken and Strays, maybe I took in a bastard child of his and he's hiding that from the congregation because that would make him unpure. Maybe he had it with one of the people from the Lala village.
Well, I just need to make sure we've got an appropriate. Not appropriate. I need to make sure that we're clear on what we're talking about here. So. When you refer to the abbot, you were saying, we're talking about the Doomsday Abbey that's out in the wastes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I'm wondering if maybe he had an indiscretion with somebody in the village that his whole abbey hates.
Gotcha. Okay.
And maybe I took that child to safety for him.
Okay.
And it's not really something that anybody should know about because it would undermine him. So it's not really a friendship. It's more like a business relationship.
Yeah.
Where I kind of would have a little bit of the upper hand because I have which might be a reason that we are allowed to stop there and trade.
Yeah.
Because
That's
they probably
good.
wouldn't like the cult.
That's very good. So we can call him Flynn. That'd be fine.
Yeah, Abbot Flynn. Because seriously, he was so terrifying as the Dark Prince. Oh, Tim Curry was amazing.
Doomsday Abbot. Are you talking about Legend? Okay, never mind. Let me see here. So the Doomsday Abbot, and you took in his child.
I probably set that child up somewhere in the south. Just smuggled it out because he didn't want his child living with the unpure in the village.
Okay.
But he also couldn't take it to the abbey because that would, unmask him.
So the child is not. So the child is not currently with the convoy or anything like that. You just took the child in for a little while, or
took the child in,
delivered them to the to
a safe spot in the south, and founded a family, so that the child is nowhere near him but safe.
Okay.
Maybe the
right.
mother died in childbirth. Maybe the mother died for some other reasons, but he didn't want the child growing up with the unclean and the impure who will not ascend, whatever.
Okay, cool. Um, so you have that. And we can name the child or not. It doesn't, as far as this goes, but it's probably not going to appear in this narrative. But that's kind of your connection.
Hope.
Hope's good.
So nobody talks about it, and nobody really knows why he even deals with me. Because, I have never shared that with anybody.
Okay. And again, so now I would need another NPC from outside of the convoy. It can be from any of the places we mentioned or somewhere else. Yes, Michi.
Would it be like a gang, military group? What I can't remember what it.
Oh, we haven't really fully decided. We thought maybe it's like a biker gang that runs the military junkyard.
They're the remnants of a military base that formed a biker gang.
Yes. I was gonna say that the head of them is Krista's dad.
Ooh,
nice.
And so she left, but he kind of saw it coming because she's a very free spirit. But yeah, so that's
awesome.
That's her father over there, and there's like a normal parental love-hate relationship going on where it's like, why'd you leave? But I'm happy you're alive.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Why did you leave?
It's like, and that would explain
awesome.
why she's able to fight and stuff like that, because that's what she was raised around.
And they probably have a pack of dogs too. It's a junkyard after all.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
They might be breeding the meanest attack dogs.
One of them is named Cupcake.
I love that one too. You know what? As a little girl, you probably named dogs that embarrassed all the bikers, but they couldn't say no to you.
Well, I decided on the 3 names. So one is Pudding, one is Cupcake, and one is Taco. They're
That's
all
good.
food
We still
related.
have tacos in the future. I want that.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not sure what tacos are exactly anymore, but we still have the word. I don't know.
You'll smile about it.
But oh, that's great. The military, and again, if you have a name for the character, that's awesome. If not, I'll get a name for him at some point. And Curt, do you have an idea for a?
Well, if we're doing the
NPCs from outside the. I'm sorry.
Right, the people that embrace the maelstrom. We haven't really talked about them yet.
No, yeah, we have not.
Okay.
We have not.
So I was thinking about the fact that the reason why they embrace the maelstrom is because they understand it the best, because they are either the direct descendants or connected to those that actually caused it. They're the scientists. So Dr.
Nice.
Gaga is, since we're going parents, is my mother, who, that's where I get my smarts from, decided that she didn't have time to be a mother. So she kind of passed me along with my brother, Seth, if he wants to be my brother or not. But she's someone that has maybe somehow kept in touch with me, trying to get me to embrace my inner psychic connections.
Village of psychic scientists.
Dancing psychic scientists, for sure.
Dancing psychic scientists.
Constant Burning Man there all the time.
Burning Man Village. Excellent. Mm-hmm. The Burning Maelstrom Village. I love it. Now, once again, we can have. You don't have to have as close. The other characters don't have to have necessarily as close relationships, because again, these aren't people with these other NPCs. I'd like an idea of some sort of at least tenuous connection that would help for at least for each of these, for at least one other person. I think it's interesting you each picked one from each settlement, which is cool. But again, this can be through mutual acquaintances or whatever. It doesn't have to be direct, but it can be.
if since Krista is not traveling with me, if maybe her father would have checked me out specifically, and maybe I caught onto it. Maybe we had one of those tense heart-to-hearts where he's basically threatened me to make sure his little girl is fine.
Cool.
Kind
So
of like we have this like understanding that she's
Yeah.
important to both of us,
Yeah.
but we don't really know each other and we don't really care about each
He's
other.
like
But
done heavy research into you as much as that's possible.
yeah, to make sure that we're not gonna sell her into slavery or
Yeah.
do anything else with her.
Cool.
Especially
I like
since he's
it.
probably worried about the cult.
Oh yeah. Who wouldn't be, really? Okay, so that's a connection there. Would anyone else like to attach to any of the others? Again, Flynn or the Abbot Flynn or Dr. Gaga? Dr. Gaga.
I mean, they would kind of know each other if you think about it. That the mother is the enemy of Flynn,
Yeah.
and Krista's father kind of interacts with both of them. They might just know about each other, just
Yeah.
as a general.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that totally. But I'm thinking of, in this case, Krista and Barbello. Like, say, Barbella, do you have what is your relationship to the Doomsday? What I'm asking is, what is your relationship to the Doomsday Abbey, and what is Krista's relationship to the to the dancing psychic scientist village?
I think the Abbey wants Polaris. They see her as some sort of, like, maybe not Wonder Child, or maybe she's seen as an Antichrist. Like, if they could take her and eliminate her, then the world would be a better place.
I like it. Cool. I'm getting a notice that Krista might have partied in the village, perhaps. Do you go there and hang out?
Probably, yeah. Krista's, like, because of being in that area and everything, she's like already developed her own like level of tolerance, and so I don't think it would really be much of a stretch for her to, be out there and be partying and like living life.
Awesome.
And
excellent.
Like, since Krista's curiosity does get the better of her, it's possible that she has met Dr. Gaga while following Barbello or Seth's character. Because she's very curious about what she doesn't know.
Awesome. Excellent. Okay, cool. Well, we are nearing the edge of this thing. And we just see if there's anything. I think we have come to the end of my list. But wait, I thought of one other thing. One other tiny thing. You do not have to come up with this immediately. But if possible, and this can be about anything. This is a rumor that you have heard. And this can be about the convoy. It can be about the places outside the convoy. It can be about the wastes. It can be about something in the north. It can be about something in the south. It can be about anything. It can be about the train. It can be about anything. Rumors that might perhaps become narratively significant. We don't know. And do you want a little time to think about it, or do you want to go ahead and... You've got one. What do you want? What do you got?
So like I said about the village, it used to be bigger, but because of everything, they don't use the whole space. But there is a rumor, maybe they say it just so that way children don't go near it, or for whatever reason. But there's a rumor that there is this like church-like building on the edge of the town that is haunted.
Ooh, nice.
I think
Mhm.
we haven't really talked about the research space yet. So I'm thinking that there's a rumor that somebody or a lot of somebodies or something has moved into the research station, but nobody knows what or who or why. But there's been rumors about activity in, things being in the research base.
Excellent. Love it. All right.
There are spies in the cult, either from the Abbey or from the village or somewhere, but somebody's infiltrated.
There's a leak inside the cult. Paranoia, here we come.
There's a cult inside the cult.
Good. Excellent. Awesome. Okay. Well then, that's that. That's everything that I have. I am excited to get building on this. I'm going to start building out threats and out of this and sorting things out. I think I've got plenty of stuff for us to create a delightful amount of drama with. We're probably not going to be able to hit on everything that we came up with today necessarily, but I'm going to try to incorporate it as all best I can. And we'll kind of see where this goes next week. When we dive in, I also am going to be interested to see what Seth wants to contribute in the meantime over our Discord chat. So we'll jump in on this, and it's interesting. It's the glacier train. I'd almost say the glacier train to hell could be a cool time, except that we're not actually doing anything with the train itself as much. That's the only problem.
In my brain, it was the traveling travesty.
Could be a that's a good title too. That's a good title. We will think on this. Travesty. No, wait. Okay, I'm starting to portmanteau, and that means that it's time to go. So
might have to have Polaris in it. Now you just got to find a word with P that means ice.
I know, right? I'm sure it's there. Well, folks, that is our session 0, and we're going to next week. We're going to have the first session, the first official RP session of this game. Hopefully, we'll have Seth with us, who has agreed to. Unfortunately, again, expressed his apologies not being able to come, but had said that will appear next week unless he is struck by lightning. That would be like the only thing that would prevent him from doing so. Possibly not even then. We're not sure. But we're going to go around and do our outros, and of course say where folks can find you, and feel free to plug anything you like and any thoughts about this session or things that you're looking forward to. And we will start with Vivacia.
All right, so I'm Vivacia, which is what you can find me at Twitch. I am a variety streamer. I kind of took a 2-week break, but I am back. I play all kinds of things. Like me, I've been on a Sims 4 thing, building all kinds of crazy things. Also, you can find me playing all kinds of things with Michi. The other day we played Civ 4. We take over the world, make crazy religions. What was it this time? River of Plenty. So, and then on the Twitter, you can find me as Miss Vivacia, where you can get a little bit of everything from D&D to Sims to vaguely political memes, everything that you can think of. And yeah, I like to haunt Jim's channel a lot. He puts out a call. My name's probably on it.
It's entirely possible. Awesome, excellent. And was there anything else you wanted to say about the campaign that coming up or anything, or are we good?
Just I love brainstorming with you guys, because we came up with something so amazing. Seriously, Jim, you need to write a book or make like a podcast story out of this or something, because the world seems to be amazing, even if we are not part of it cool. After. Well, you might want to keep the setting around.
One never knows. One just might. Awesome. And Curt?
I am Curt Jackson, Captain Curt Jack on Twitter, and don't really have much online presence other than just kind of what I do, maybe like on Instagram, with my eco tour company up in Alaska. So there's a little bit of information on that. If you're ever up in Homer, Alaska, please look me up. I have a boat that goes out called the Orca. You do not need a bigger boat. So come check it out at some point. And yeah, see what we're up to. And yeah, I love Apocalypse World stuff. It's so fun to just bring everybody's mindset in. Like, I could say, like, where we started like 3 hours ago, I had a little kernel of an idea, and feeling that morph as it went along, getting bumped by everybody else's ideas, and then growing into something that was totally unexpected, but just, I love it. It's just my favorite process in games.
This is one of the reasons why I'm addicted to world building. And I do it as often as I can. Also very helpful for to save time on things. Awesome. So glad to have you here. And finally over to Michi.
Hello, I am Michi, also known as Witty Michi. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and here on Twitch. I am a variety streamer. I play quite a number of games, League of Legends, and Civilization, random stuff. I'm starting to delve into the world of like TRPGs and stuff like that, so I'm super excited to be doing this again, and ready to attack Jim with my humor. So I have a stream in an hour after this, but so come on by, say hi, party with me. But other than that, I'm super excited about this story and all the puppies. I'm starting off with 3, but there might be more.
One never knows.
Maybe you gave one to Polaris as a guardian.
I don't think I'd be allowed to.
You never know.
Who knows?
Because she's hero worshipping, right? That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the dogs is psychic.
It's true.
That'd be interesting.
You never know. One never knows.
Get back to me on that, Jim.
We'll have to see. Psychic. Oh my God. Ah! Delightful. All right. Well, as for me, who am I? As for me, I'm Jim. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've got links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, some of my fiction and games I've been working on and posting on itch, along with links to game signups and applications to join our Discord. On this channel, tomorrow night, we shall have the continuance of our campaign of masks run by Mole. We had a great first session, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. On Saturday evenings, we have our Invisible Sun campaign, The Edge of Paradox. On Sundays, we have returned to having our one-shots. So the one-shot this Sunday will be another round of Fall of Magic. We played it last Sunday. We're going to play it again this Sunday. And I'm very excited to dig back into that. Then on Sunday evenings, we have our ongoing Dark Matter campaign, Ghosts of Saltmaw. That's basically Ghosts of Saltmarsh in space. So it's I think I like the way the group is gelling on that one, and so it's or failing to gel, as the case may be. But it's been a lot of fun so far. And then of course on Monday nights, I am over on Tales from the Grim running Deadlands. We are coming up to our season finale this Monday, I believe, if all is as I think it's going to be. They're fighting the person who's on the cover of the Deadlands book. It's not well, dealing with. We'll have to see if they fight him or not. Don't know. It could come to blows, but it could be an issue.
It'll all be fine.
They'll be fine. It's only stone. It doesn't matter. It'll be fine. It's just the most powerful person in the setting. That's no worries. No worries. And then of course back around to Tuesday nights when we'll have more of this, and we shall begin our campaign in earnest and see what happens in the wastes. Well, folks, thank you all so much for watching. When we get to the end card. Let's see. No signups are open just yet. Soon, again, I keep saying this. I'm going to try to open up signups for one shot of Shotguns and Sorcery. That's coming a week from Sunday. Hopefully, I'll get all that together in time. Again, you can click on RPG sign up down below or go to jimyesthatjim.com, click on game sign up, and hopefully it'll be there soon if I can get it all together. As always, beginners are welcome. So, when we hit the end card, I am going to send a raid over to... I'm going to raid Christiana Ellis. I haven't raided her a lot lately. Her show So Many Levels is going on. They're up to 122 episodes now. So I'm just curious to see what's going on there. So I'm going to go over there and say hi to them. Feel free to hang on and say hi to them with us if you are so inclined. That, again, will be after we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and I will see you next week. Farewell.